Hello and welcome to my first ever Let's Play on Cities Skylines. I've never done one of these before, but I've been building a lot off camera and I kind of wish that I'd been filming it the whole way through, so I thought I'd start a new city and actually record it this time. I want to do like a sprawling map with loads of different cities and town areas, and I've been looking at different maps to use off camera. And I think the Bay of Rivers from the second map pack would be perfect for this. I've been using a map from the workshop on one of my off-camera games. I'm really loving having lots of variation in landscape, like mountains and rivers and valleys. And this map, I've never used it before, but it looks pretty good. So let's go. I will be using mods. I will list them right now. And I have a few assets from the workshop, and I'll also list all of the DLCs that I've got. I haven't got all of them, and I'm not playing with natural disasters because that stresses me out too much, and I don't want to spend all this time building something just to have a tsunami come and wipe it away. So we're in the game. Whoa, that is quite the intersection. That's amazing. I don't think I've ever opened a map with an intersection this great. The only other map that I've used with a great intersection like this on the starting tile was also in the second map pack, so it kind of makes sense if they were both made by the same person. I believe they were made by Side-Eye. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm still fairly new to this, so I don't know who everyone is yet. So excuse me if I'm being ignorant and there's things that I should know. I'm still very much learning about the community behind Cities Skylines. I've always been quite an insular person when it's come to gaming. I played Sims for about 15 years without ever really talking to other people about it. But I'm really enjoying being part of the Cities Skylines community so far. And everyone's been very welcoming. The other creators that I've come across on TikTok and YouTube have been super nice and super welcoming, because it's very overwhelming, especially being like a young woman who isn't in the gaming community at all. I don't even really usually watch gaming videos on YouTube. I tend to just kind of play and that's it, but I'm really enjoying being a part of it so far. So with this, like I said, I want to do like a sprawling city that has bits here and bits there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at the whole map on the cinematic camera. I found out you could do this the other day, and it has honestly changed my life when it comes to how to start off a new city, because I used to think that you could only see so much outside, but I can see that there's a whole load of really great detailing on this map. Especially within the starting tile already. Like, this is so cute. Really adds to the charm of the map and gives it some personality. But I love this pass through the middle of these two mountains. I'm also seeing a great area over here. I wonder if I can do a little town over here maybe. I'm thinking ahead a little bit, but I kind of need to plan which direction I'm going to go in. Like I said, I am going to be playing with mods. I have quite a lot installed. I still don't really know what they all do, and because I've been playing with mods pretty much since the beginning, I kind of sometimes forget what is a mod and what's not. So when I'm doing my beginner's guide let's play, sometimes I go to do something and then I realize you can't do that. So I'm loving this winding river down here, and it looks like the highway goes along the beachfront along with the train track. There's a little island over here that's gonna be really helpful, and this looks like a perfect place to have like a Manhattan style high-rise island. But again, I'm really getting ahead of myself. So the starting tile, which I believe is this area here, I can see the train line is very close up here. So I might try and do my industry down towards this way, just so I can get a cargo connection really easily. So maybe in this area over here, but that may be wishful thinking. with the amount of money I have in the bank. I'm doing this with everything still locked. I haven't cheated the starting balance. I haven't unlocked all the milestones. So I'll be doing this kind of vanilla, if that's the right term to use. Again, I'm still getting used to the terminology for this. But I might try and get my industry down here so I can do a cargo connection when it becomes available. Because this area over here is so nice, I don't want to dirty it up with a bunch of industry. And also there's a forestry area down here that would be good for industry. Forestry's always been my favourite because it's green. I hate the way that the pollution looks, and even though it is a game, I don't want there to be pollution in my town. I know it's unavoidable, but I don't want there to be pollution at all, really, if I can avoid it, especially not later in the game. So I tend to use the forest brush to cheat the tree levels a bit, just so I can add nice industry in there. So trying to decide where to go first. I think it would be very wise to start near the river, mainly for the water and sewage pipes. So let's put down the first road to unlock everything else. Let's just undo that so I get my money back. So let's see which way the water is flowing. It's flowing down that way. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my water pipes. And if I'm going to be building down here, I don't want the pipes to be super long. Obviously, when Cities Skylines 2 comes out, we're not going to have to worry about this anymore because they're going to be under the roads. But for now, we do have to think about it. So, okay, so I'll put my outlet pipe down here, or at least further up, and I'll put my inlet, if that's a word. Is inlet a word? My pumping station I'll put down here. And let's have a look at the electricity. Where have I gone? There's a that's not that great, really. 7 megawatts. I mean, up here would obviously be a lot better, but I can't get up there yet. So I think I'm going to use the advanced coal power plant for electricity. I know that it is a lot more expensive, but it puts out more power and it's greener. And I feel like I've started enough towns now that I can budget pretty good with the stuff that I put down. So let me try and find the dirt road. Right, gravel road. The tip about using gravel roads instead of normal roads when you're starting out is genius. I mean, the difference in price between a gravel road and a regular road, that's 40. And that's 20, so it's literally half the price. So if we're gonna go around this way, I think I'm just gonna go straight out this way. Probably gonna cause hell for my traffic, but for now it's not going to be too intensive, so it won't be that bad. I usually like to start with 4-lane roads, like this one, because I don't like knocking things down when I put the 4-lane roads in eventually, and the 2-lane roads, they get so clogged up at the beginning, and then cars will park on them, people will be crossing them everywhere. So I'd usually like to start with a 4-lane road, but it's triple the cost of a gravel pathway, and if I'm using a more expensive power source, I'm going to use the cheapest road available. So for now, I'm going to start off with a very boring residential block, and I'm going to do it a little bit deeper than the gravel road, so that when I change this into a 4-lane road, I've got this gap where the zonable blocks will be pushed back into. So I'm just going to do 2 blocks for now. So I'm going to do this section here as housing. Let's get the pipes in. You may be wondering where I sit on the great pipe debate, and I am of the view that laying your pipes in a grid is much better because you can cover more area for a fraction of the cost of putting it under the roads. Like if I went around every road here, I'd be covering some areas like 2 or 3 or even 4 times. And there's no need to do that as long as, you know, the things line up down the middle. You're covered, you're good. And that cost barely any money. So let's get our industrial in. Kind of don't want to go all the way up there, but I'm going to go a little of the way up there. When it comes to the trucks from the industrial area bringing stuff back to the town, this is something I often don't consider when doing the start of a town, because the majority of them will be going from the industrial to the residential. Depending on which side of the roundabout I put them on, which I've just realised is probably the wrong way because I'm on left-hand drive, they're going to be crossing over the entrance to the town to get to the shops. Unless I build a secondary entrance, which I kind of don't want to do. It'll be alright for now. I'll change it later. Like I say about pretty much everything I do. Okay. I'm going to do a little grid here. It's far enough away from the entrance that it's going to be not pollute the houses, but not too far that pulling the pipes over is going to cost £1 million. So that should just about cover most of the industrial. So let's put in the coal power plant, or the advanced coal power plant. Was this a new addition, like more recently? Because I don't remember seeing this a few months ago. I did take a big break in the middle because I run a shop and it was getting really busy and I'm planning my wedding. So there was a big period of time where I wasn't playing Cities Skylines. And then when I came back and noticed that this was here all of a sudden, I swear it wasn't there before. So let's do all of this area. But like I always do, I'm going to remove the corners so that I can expand it later. And I'm also going to do this bit in the middle here. I'm not going to do these side bits because I want to add some commercial and I want to leave a little bit of a boundary just so they're not complaining too much about noise. I think I'll probably leave these middle bits empty here. So the last things I need to do is put in the outlet pump. I'm not going to put it too far away. Probably going to put it about here so I can connect that up really easily. And then pylons. This is going to be quite the stretch. I just put it close enough. Once those houses populate in, that will carry the electricity over. So I think I've got everything done. I'm going to reduce the budget down for the roads and also for the electricity and water, just so we're not wasting money straight off the bat. I could probably reduce them a little bit more, but I don't want to run into problems because there's a million things to remember. So I think that is everything ready. So I'm going to unpause and let things start happening. And there's the first thing that I've forgotten already. Put the coal power plant right outside the boundary for that. Okay, so the houses are being populated. I know a lot of people like to do the ploppable houses, but I just prefer to let them build themselves in and be a bit random. I'm going to be changing it all to the self-sufficient building style anyway. I tend to use that for pretty much all of my builds, and I generally have maybe 1 or 2 areas that have the regular style of housing. That's nearly all of them in already. We're hemorrhaging money, but it's okay. So they're starting to want some commercial, so I will put that down the main street on both sides, and they will populate that in their own time. I'm also going to lay some more roads down while I can. Because if I run out of money, I can't lay any more roads down. It's always better to do these things while you can, and let the self-governing things like the houses populating and let them do that on their own. Let's fast forward this a little bit and see if we get any of our first residents. It's always my favourite bit when that first car comes in. There it is. Oh, that's a truck. That's a truck going to the power plant. That's not that great. By the way, I am terrible with names when it comes to naming districts and naming the towns, like this name down here. I tend to leave the road names and the house names just as they are, but when it comes to districts, I'm really bad at coming up with names. So if you've got any suggestions, please put them in the comments and I'll pick my favourite one each time I make a new district. Okay, the commercial is coming in now and they're wanting industry. So let's go and do all of that as industry. Oh, shit. Oh, I always forget this. Always forget to do this. I didn't connect up my sewage pumps to the electricity grid. Every single time I start a new town, I always forget to do that. They're having water problems, but that should all go away in a second. There you go. Perfect, wonderful, lovely. Oh, and here come the first cars. Oh, there's a person there already? How the hell did they get here? Sophie Blackwell works at the power plant. Did she teleport in? Did she walk from the highway? Because there are no... Oh, there's one. Oh. Oh, I missed the first car coming in. Damn it. I always like that part. I wonder why one came in so much earlier than the rest. Oh, I like this bit, watching them all come in. I know that they're programmed to do this, but it makes me think, oh, they want to come and live in the place that I've made. Little do they know it's all going to fall to in a few weeks' time in the game, so they're not thinking very smartly. That is a lot of cars coming in. Let's have them all filter in and go to their houses. Industry is in great demand, so I'm just going to add a little bit more in there. I think this side is the side covered by the water pumps, and that bit over there, water pipes. Sorry. I know I did the most expensive type of power, but if you'll look at my little budget panel, I'm nearly in the green already. And I never do it that quickly. I'm sure that something else is going to go wrong soon. Let's have a look at when my first milestone is. Okay, 480, that seems pretty mid. About halfway there, just over halfway there. So much of the first parts of the game is just waiting for something to happen. I kind of flip-flop about what I prefer to do. Sometimes I prefer to build, sometimes I prefer to have like full creativity and an open bank balance to be able to do whatever I want. And then other times I enjoy the challenge of trying to balance the wants and needs with a very small amount of money. And I feel like it's more rewarding to come out the other side of like a big rough patch where your bank balance is like tens of thousands into the minus and you manage to pull it back somehow. But at other times when I'm trying to do something and I really desperately want to do something and I can't do it because I don't have the money, that also can be very frustrating. So I'm about 2 months into the game and the bank is already in the green. I'm pretty proud of that. It doesn't normally happen that early on for me, so I'm sure something else is going to go wrong. But they're starting to want some more houses now, so let's build some sprawling suburbs around the edge. This is something that I do in pretty much every single one of my games. I feel like it looks a lot nicer, helps with traffic. It helps break up the griddiness of an early town. So the earliest I can get in there and start doing these kind of roads, the better. Let's make sure that these are covered by the pipes as well. That just about does that. And will that one be covered? Maybe. We'll have to see. Okay, so I'm gonna do, oh, different industry over there. So I'm gonna do these ones as housing. Oh, get rid of that. I'm gonna leave this space empty to do a park. I know the parks are a little way off, but I like to leave gaps, otherwise your kind of first town area ends up looking really, really compact and boring when you go back to it. But it will always be the center of the map, so I try and account for stuff like that as far in advance as possible. I'm earning a decent amount, and my needs are all pretty okay, although the industry is wanting people. That is my least favorite bubble to come up above something, because I never seem to be able to fix it. No matter what I do, industry will always demand workers, commercial will always demand educated workers, and then highly educated workers, and don't even get me started on the offices. I feel like I can never keep up with what they want. So sometimes I will just raise the taxes loads so they stop demanding it. If I fast forward this a little bit, we should be hitting the first milestone pretty soon. There we go, that was nice and easy. So we've got landfill, school, medical clinic and recycling centre. Now I'm not going to have enough money for that yet. And I know that the next milestone will have things like fire stations and police stations, so I need to save a little bit for that. But elementary school and landfills are very important to put in straight away, because they will immediately start complaining that there isn't a landfill, even though I've just unlocked it. So let's do the landfill first. I know I said I didn't want to create any pollution, but it's kind of unavoidable. But at least if I put them together, these two things together, then that won't be too bad. Although I did just disconnect that. Let's put that back together. Oh, I just put the whole grid down in one go. Okay, cool. Now let's do the elementary school. Never leave room for this. Okay, so it needs to be fairly central. Maybe over here. I think that'll be opposite of parks. That'd be quite nice. Covers nearly all of the houses we've put in already, so I'll put this down here. I'll just reconnect this up. And then let's build another road coming off of here so that I can zone these houses. I always forget that if you put houses right next to a place where you're going to do a kind of non-right angle road, it will affect the zoning blocks around it, and quite often that will mean that houses will get bulldozed, so I try and avoid that as much as possible. God, that one went in straight away. The reason that I have left these blocks here and not zoned them is because I'm going to be doing some pathways around here, and I don't want to have like a tiny little gap that I can't get through. So this should be plenty of room to put a pathway through there, and then I can create a nice sprawling park like I showed on my TikTok channel the other day, which came from episode 7 of my beginner's guide let's play. Just going to zone some more housing and let it play on for a bit. I'm going to take another look at this intersection while that is doing its thing. So this is one of the prettiest intersections I've ever seen. So there's no conflicts really. There's not going to be any points of contention, maybe some cars merging in, but it's not like there's any intersections or anything. It's also beautifully landscaped as well, with all the trees and the rocks. It's really gorgeous. looks like the traffic's all flowing quite smoothly. Oh, water. I always forget about this. I need to have like an alarm every time I place a road to check the water, because I always forget. Okay, let's check the statistics page. Doing absolutely fine for electric, will be fine for a while. Water again, only just put that down. Residential happiness is not doing too good, but that's generally because they don't actually have people in yet. Oh, they've got one of one households, but they are not happy at all. Somewhere they're not happy. It's kind of okay. I'll be adding a health clinic in a minute, once I've got a decent amount of money for it. Is it 12,000? Oh, it's only 10,000. I'll add one in a minute. There's only one. Oh, that would be why. That would be why. They're not very happy. They are sick somehow already. Traffic. I mean, it's the start of the game, so how bad is it going to be? But it looks like that section of that slip road, I may have to amend that once I get that tile. When I started the city that I'm doing off camera, it's a beautiful, beautiful map, but the traffic is atrocious. I think the traffic was already on like 70% before I'd even laid a single road down, and it's because it was one lane highways going all the way through the map. And these intersections that cross over, they look really cool and it is gorgeous, but it's just constant points of conflict. So no matter what I do on that one, it's always going to be bad. Although the other day I did get down to 50% because I completely screwed up the center of the city with cargo trucks, and they were trying to get from one district to another district through one road, as were all of the residents and tourists as well. It was not good, but I did create the most amazing train network in that city, and I'm very proud of it, because the reason why I started doing these videos is because I put a stupid thing up on TikTok about how I broke my cargo trains and they were all getting stuck and I couldn't get anything to work, and it was just generally really, really bad. But on this one I'm very, very proud because I've created an amazing network of train lines and stations that have passenger trains, cargo trains, and intercity trains, the ones that spawn in the game naturally. And there is not a single train that's got stuck on them yet. And I am so proud of myself. I don't think I'm ever gonna outlive the train mess. And it's gonna be something that in every single one of my Let's Plays, I'm gonna make sure I do right. Maybe I'll do a few wrong just for fun. But I feel so proud of myself when I do something that's like so smooth and so perfect, because you know, it's all well and good laying down intersections that someone else has already made or getting things from the gallery, and it's amazing that people have spent the time and effort to create things and then upload them for other people to use, and they are so helpful when you want to do something quickly. But nothing beats building something yourself. Okay, maybe it does for other people, but for me, nothing beats building something yourself. Should probably focus on my town for a minute. They are really needing housing right now. So I'm going to continue this one round here, and then have one coming off of here, and they will connect up. Actually, no, they're not going to connect up, because then I can do the little park thing through the middle. So I'm going to leave a little bit of room there for the park. I'm actually going to move this over slightly so that it's not so close to those houses there, and then I could do a little pathway either side. I will actually, I haven't unlocked parks yet. I got a tiny, tiny little park from the workshop that I've seen quite a lot of other people use. And it's a tiny, tiny little like 1 square adventure park thing that looks so good next to a school. Why did that house just remove itself? Jesus, am I doing something that badly already that they're just chopping their houses down and moving on? I'm going to put a park in here somewhere, so I'm going to do these houses here, and hopefully this will bring the grid across so that I can remove these pylons and then do something here. And I might just do one singular house over there to connect this part of the grid up. It's a really handy tip actually if you're wanting to remove the pylons but you can't yet because the grid is all the way over here. Just do one little bit that's further away but still connects to the original grid so that you can remove some of the pylons so they're not in the way. I'm sure that other people know that tip, but I like to think that I thought of that myself. Super high demand for housing, but they're not building it. That house has now rebuilt itself. Okay, there we go. How's that? Oh, it's close enough. Let me just do that, and then I can remove these, and then the space in the middle has cleared up. Put another road up here, and then see that's changed these houses here. It's on the other side of the road, for God's sake. Actually, no, I'm going to leave that one there so I can put something else there. This is just about outside. Oh, that one did get covered. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what's the largest gap I can leave on a lot for it to still be covered by the sewage pipes. And it looks like a fairly big portion of it can be not covered and it will still be generally covered. Okay, let's do around there. Oh, that little house there is built in. That used to... Oh, it's so cute and tiny. Someone commented on one of my TikToks the other day, I say the other day, it was about a month ago now, saying that they hate the one tile houses and how they kind of pull them out of the reality of it, but I just think they are the cutest little things ever. I mean, I think that's a 2-tile house anyway, but I love these little houses, especially when they're all in a little row. It's like a little toy town. In my huge city that's inspired by Parks and Rec, I have a whole area, actually I have 3 areas that are all like 1 or 2 tile houses, and one of them looks a little bit like a trailer park, but it is super cute, and all of the houses are really upgraded because the area is so dense that everything around it is really close to them. So they're on pedestrian only pathways, so they don't get any traffic noise. They're surrounded by utilities and facilities, so they're all like on level 5 and they all got up there really quickly. So you can knock the tiny houses, but they do have the benefits. Also, you can cram a lot more people into a smaller space by doing that, especially if you do like 1 or 2 tile high rise. I did that in one of them, and you can fit a huge amount of people in a very small space by doing that. But that's just my opinion. If you think they look silly, then they look silly. Okay, they still want houses. They're demanding them. Oh, I didn't think about that. I should have left these ones empty. I'm gonna leave that empty for now actually. Built them way too close. Go up to here. Once we unlock the intersections, I'm going to be using the cul-de-sac. Technically it's an intersection, but it's a cul-de-sac asset from the workshop by insert name here because I can't remember off the top of my head. Because instead of having these little weird ends where you can't put anything on them, you can then zone around the edge of the cul-de-sac, which to me screams British housing estate, because there's those little cul-de-sacs everywhere. You know, we all laugh at America for being like a grid in all their cities and everything looks really boring and really regimented. But if you've ever tried to drive through a British housing estate without a map or without knowing where you're going, you'll be lost there for days. None of the roads connect up to each other. You can see a road, but you can't get to it. You can get to it on foot, but you can't get to it by car. So it's one of the reasons why I will always have the Maps app up on my phone every time I go anywhere, even if I know where I'm going, just in case I come across a housing estate and I don't know how to get out. So let's have a look at where my next milestone is. It's slightly different for each map, so don't really know where this one's going to be. 950, that's not bad. So get the new area, police and fire, industry specialization, and districts. I made the mistake once, the first time I used the self-sufficient building style, because to my knowledge, and I don't have all of the packs, but to my knowledge, The self-sufficient buildings and the wall-to-wall buildings are the only ones that have different building styles within districts, at least for residential housing. But I made the mistake the first time I used the eco houses of doing the entire district in one go, not realizing that it was going to bulldoze every single house and rebuild it. My population went back down to 0 and my game crashed because it just wiped every single house from the entire district. So I won't be making that mistake again. I always do it very, very slowly now when I do change all the houses over. So they're still wanting housing, so I'm going to add in a few more houses down here. Remove that one. These ones can be added back in now. I'm not going to put anything either side of this school because I don't want it to be too cramped. I'm also going to continue this main road on a little bit. Oh, are you kidding? It's just too close. Right, let's see if I can click the right ring. There we go. So I'm going to continue the main road on to the next node and do a little bit more commercial, but I am going to leave a gap for the fire and police, or at least the fire, because ever since that update that they did recently, I think it was in March or April, whenever it was, whenever that update was, it's been just constant fires. It's fire after fire after fire. Everything's always on fire. I never had a single fire for the first few months of playing this game, so I always thought, what's the point of putting a fire station in because nothing ever catches on fire? I always thought that because I had the natural disasters pack turned off, that's why it wasn't happening. It must be that you can only get fires from the natural disasters. Little did I know you should have been getting fires this whole time, but they just weren't happening for some reason. So the first time I did get a fire, I panicked, filmed it and put it on TikTok, got a million people saying, oh, why didn't you just use the helicopters to stop the fires? I was like, what helicopters? Like, what? I've never seen a helicopter in this before. Turns out they were talking about the natural disasters pack, and somehow my fire had spread through the forestry industry area and it shouldn't have been able to do that or something. So I was very confused. Obviously I'd seen helicopters on other people's games before because before even playing Cities Skylines, I came across Jakery Don't on TikTok and I just fell in love with his chaotic city with the spiral district and the oops all roundabouts. I still watch every single one of the videos because they're so funny, and he just does everything so chaotically, and I live for that because I can't do chaos. I am scared by doing chaos myself. I want to build something nice and something pretty, and it scares me to do that to my own stuff, but I will happily watch someone else do it. So I'd seen helicopters in his games before because obviously he has the natural disasters pack on because there's constant tsunamis and meteors and everything. Totally not self-inflicted at all. I was wondering why they'd never shown up in my game before. Turns out I just didn't have the pack turned on. I'm going to do some more housing to keep up with the ever-growing demand for houses. I feel like the most common thing that I say on the beginner's guide Let's Play is, so I'm just going to go in and do some more housing because every 5 seconds the housing demand goes back up again and they want more housing. I don't want to like not show it because I don't want people to get the wrong idea about how often you have to go in and zone places and build more roads, but it does get very repetitive after a while and I could understand if people hated that. So we're making a decent amount a week, nearly a grand a week. And I know that this is supposed to be, I think, cells, but for the purpose of this, I'm just going to call it pounds because I'm not used to calling something cells and it sounds weird to me. So I'm just going to call it pounds. One thing I haven't done that I was supposed to do is add a medical center. So I might add that over here somewhere. Just so I can get all of these houses. I think they'll all be covered by that. Because I usually put all of my stuff down the main road, but that's a bit boring and it's not really going to cover the houses at the back. So I'll put it up here and then there'll be a park that goes in next to it. How far are we off? About 60-ish people off. Oh, look at that pollution. Love it. That's total lie. I hate it. I hate the pollution so much. And thinking about it, I do this every single time. I should not have put the landfill right in the center of it, because that kills the trees. So I might have to do a tree area down here and just kind of try and get rid of the pollution up here before moving the trees back. So I have a few different tree brushes that I've made for my others. So let's see if this one's any good. I don't like the yellowy trees in that. Which one are they? Oh shit. Oops. Now we can keep that. It would be... Oh shit, I'm gonna use the scroll because I keep doing stuff I shouldn't be doing. What tree even is that? Is that an adler? Alder? Alder? I don't know what tree that is. So there don't seem to be any of those on this map already. So it does look a little bit weird. Yeah, that's what it was. So I'm just gonna do a bit of a smattering. Oh, that put my bank down quite a lot. I always forget how much trees cost when you do stuff like that, because I'm used to kind of being in the higher end of the milestones where it doesn't really matter how much money you spend on decoration. At the beginning it definitely does, because I think I just lost about 3 or 4 grand on that. Where can I put these last houses in? So nearly at that milestone, and then we'll unlock some stuff. Let's just put this on fast forward for now. We might possibly get there. I thought my game crashed for a minute there. Whew. Nearly shit myself. Okay, we've made it to the second milestone. Very important things unlocked now. Fire department and industry specialization. Self-sufficient buildings and policies and taxes. No, I already had taxes, I just didn't do anything about it. Again, another thing I always forget to do is taxes. So I'm gonna quickly save this because I did nearly shit myself just then. I thought the whole thing had crashed. So first thing I'm gonna do, firehouse. Add the firehouse somewhere where it can get to everywhere. That's definitely the firehouse. Yeah. Somewhere where it can get to everywhere, and I'm going to put... Have I got enough money to put one on each side? The industry tends to go up in flames a lot, so I should really put one over there as well, but hopefully I'll be able to reach it over there. Okay. So the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the first blob of my district. Oh, that's a nice name, Fawn Heights. Okay, so district styles, self-sufficient buildings, and I'm also gonna do organic produce because I like that too. So they will start replacing themselves. My population is gonna dip well below what it took to get to this milestone, but that's okay, it will build back up again over time. So while that's happening, I'm going to reduce the police budget because there doesn't tend to be that much issues with criminal behaviour to begin with. That kind of comes later on. I'm also going to reduce that. Some unique buildings. I haven't got any yet, but I don't want to reduce it just in case I add one and then forget. I'm going to reduce garbage down a little bit because I haven't got that many people yet, and healthcare. Everyone's generally healthcare, but I'm going to keep fire services up there because I do not want my whole town to burn down. Okay. And policies. I'm going to add the smoke detector distribution to all of the districts, so that will apply to all of them once I've placed them. Oh, the houses around this pylon have removed themselves. So now that's cut the whole town off from the electricity grid. Come on, zone back in again. All of the other houses have done it. Come on, you're nearly there. Speed up a bit. Oh, so close. Come on, one more house across. I don't want everyone to start leaving because of that as well. There we go. Back connected again. And everything will go blue. And everyone's happy. They're having sewage problems because the pipes were out of action for a while, but they will all fix themselves once they come back into action. I don't know why that one took so long. Okay. So they want a little bit of industry, so I'm going to build down to this forestry area. I'm going to do very compact blocks so I can fit as much in as possible. Don't want any wasted space. And don't forget to do the district. Should cover it all pretty much. And I'm going to give that one the forestry industry specialization. Where is the, now that we've got this unlocked, natural resources. Oh, I've built on my farming area. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, so there's lots of farming smattered around. Oh, there's a big farming bit. Can't really see from here, but that looks like a huge amount of farming up there. Oh, wow. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And a little bit over there. Okay. I never really use ore or oil because I don't like things that pollute. But I might do in this one if there's big pockets of it just to see what it's like. I have the Industries DLC, but I don't really use it very often. I did use the forestry one on my Parks and Rec build, but they were constantly demanding more and more and more resources, but they weren't actually making me any money, they were costing me money. So I'm sure there's a way to do it effectively, but I didn't have the patience to figure that out. So I probably won't be doing that unless I can kind of master that, maybe. Maybe I'll challenge myself. Okay, so that's all changed now. Let's move this district out a little bit further. Too far, we don't want too many houses to go in one go. Oh, we'll go down this way and get some commercial as well. They're all gonna remove themselves and then probably let back in. I didn't do the water pipes or electricity for here, so let's just fill them in. I think there's something wrong with one of my mods because sometimes the roads and pipes don't work if you like click on it and it's got those oh, come on, I want a 90-degree angle. Why is this not letting me? It's only letting me do 79 or 78. There we go. Okay, that'll do. So I've got a problem with my roads, right? Where if I place a road down and it's got those lines coming out when I click, it won't let me do it. If I wait till they're gone, it's fine. I'm gonna try and get it to do it now. It does it when I don't want it to. See, it just says space is already occupied. I'm sure it's that one of my mods needs to be updated. But it's really frustrating because I sometimes have to go in like really close. Oh shit, we've got some problems with the police and we are nearly out of the money to be able to place a police station. So I'm gonna place one of them right now. It will take us down to about 0, but it will come back up again. So I'm gonna place that here. I'll go here, maybe here. Yeah, why not? So let's see how much money I can lose. Oh, I need to put in some pylons. I'm gonna zone. I'm not gonna zone that side. Put some pylons here because if I run out of money and I can't put them in, then they're okay. Let's fast forward a little bit. As you can see, I'm now 150 residents below where I had to get to for my last milestone because of all these houses bulldozing and then repopulating in the new district style. But that will go back up to what we had before and even higher eventually. My money is very quickly going down. Oh no, it's going back up again. That's not too bad. So my next milestone is 1500. I love the fact that the cul-de-sac is called Turnaround for Ants. I really hope that is a Zoolander reference. I say that about everything. Anything tiny, it's for ants. So just pretty roads, parks and plazas, and lots of policies in the next one. And landscaping. Landscaping is pretty important. Okay, so they're wanting workers. There's only 2 so far, so that's not too bad. Have they finished populating in now? Moves this out a little bit further. It's a bit of a slow process. It does set you back quite a bit doing this, but it's worth it in the end because they look a lot nicer, a lot more uniformed. I guess that's why people do the ploppable houses. I still need to figure out how to do that because I haven't got far enough into the game yet to figure out how to use ploppable assets like the ones from the game, if that makes sense. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I can see why, because the houses populate in such a random aesthetic sometimes. Like one will be a Victorian, the one next to it will be Art Deco, the one next to it will be a little like surf shack, and then you'll have like a Spanish 1-story home with a huge plaza in the middle. Like, it doesn't make sense. I can see why people do that. For me personally, I prefer to just use the self-sufficient building style. I think they look so nice. I'd love to live in a house like this. Like, look how cute they are. And I think this building style has the nicest like 1-tile homes. They end up looking quite cool. They're like one of these blocks is the 1-tile homes. I think most of them are done now. Let's extend this around here. And again, leave me a comment if you want to name this district. I'll pick my favourite comment for each district name. I'm terrible at naming them myself. That's why I did a Parks and Rec one, because I genuinely couldn't think of what to name them otherwise. The ones that they have that get assigned to the districts automatically, they are very repetitive. They don't have many names on there. So I tend to cycle through them once or twice in a big build. My industry's doing all right. I really want to get rid of this pollution though. I'm not going to be able to do that until I have enough for a recycling centre, but even then it still causes pollution. I did get these ones off the workshop. There's a recycling centre and a larger one, but they are a lot more expensive, like hugely more expensive. I believe they have a higher processing rate. Oh, that one's the same, but it has no pollution, a higher noise pollution, but no ground pollution. This one is amazing once you've got to the point where you basically have unlimited money and unlimited space, because this can process so much so quickly and doesn't create any ground pollution, but it's £100,000, so you can only really do that when you get further on. I saw in the trailer for Cities Skylines 2 that we're going to be getting air pollution. As far as I'm aware, that isn't something that we currently have. We have ground pollution and water pollution, and I accidentally poisoned my entire city on my kind of personal game by putting the inlet pipes too close to the outlet pipes. Well, it wasn't too close, it's just there was very little water to work with, and the just spread everywhere, and it started going up the drinking water pipe. So, and yeah, I kind of killed everyone. I think I lost about 2,000 residents because I was filming a video and I didn't notice because it was in cinematic mode and I didn't get the notifications. But yeah, anyway, we are getting air pollution, which is interesting. I don't know if I quite like that because, as I said before, I don't really like pollution. I guess it is a real thing that we have to consider in the real world. It's a lot more realistic. But I don't know if I can cope with another form of pollution to be being mindful of. The other features look great though. It looks like it's got so many of the mods that pretty much everyone uses integrated into the game. I'm very much looking forward to having pipes and electricity under the roads, and that was confirmed in the dev diaries, the first one they put out. I think it was today, 20th of June. When I'm filming this, so it's probably not today when I'm posting it, but it's great to have that confirmed. Also great that they confirmed you can pretty much add and remove crosswalks and do lane rules, which, if you want to do that right now, is a mod that you have to download, or at least 2 mods The crosswalks is something that I really wish was in the base game at the moment, because when I'm doing my beginners let's play, it is so frustrating that I can't turn the crosswalks off, especially when I'm doing tutorials on how to make footpath bridges to cut down on traffic. It does to a certain extent, but you can't stop people from walking across the road, at least it's not as far as I'm aware, without mods. So even though I make these bridges over the roads, people still walk across the roads themselves. It kind of feels a little bit redundant, but I feel like the pedestrians are more likely to choose that route. And I'm sorry to anyone who saw episode 7 of the beginners let's play, because those crosswalk bridges that I made were atrocious. They looked so bad. I was working with really uneven terrain, and I was trying not to use mods. I did have the undo mod turned on just because I was going to be hemorrhaging money otherwise. And I didn't have it turned on for the first couple of episodes, did things by mistake, and then, you know, it's all well and good hemorrhaging money when you're playing for yourself, but when you're doing a beginner's guide and you do it wrong, that's just embarrassing. So I did have it turned on. I still couldn't make a very good one though. The bridges look like they were done by a 5-year-old. And I'm a 25-year-old, so I should be able to make a better bridge than that. But it just goes to show how hard it is to play without mods and without assets, especially the Anarchy. I think it's called Anarchy, the little red tweeter bird thing. I forgot how difficult it is to play without having that installed when placing the pathways near the roads. It's just so limited with what you can do. Well, I think I'm gonna end this let's play here. I've been talking non-stop for about an hour. I don't know how long this video is going to be. It might be about an hour. And I'm sorry if it is, because no one wants to give up an hour of their time listening to a whiny British girl talk about building a town. But I really appreciate if you have made it this far. I made a TikTok the other day about how I haven't really seen any female representation in the Cities Skylines community. Diana and James were great with giving me some names of female creators that I could then go and look up, and it was kind of reassuring but also really sad to see that the first video for some of those creators was also that they hadn't seen any other female representation, so they decided to be the representation. One of them that I watched earlier from Joy was made about a year ago, and like we're a year on from that and I'm still struggling to find female creators. So I'm trying really hard to try and put myself out there, because I don't normally do stuff like this. I've never done anything like this before. I've never had a YouTube channel. I never really talk on videos. I don't even do that for my own shop very often. So I'm trying to put myself out there to show that it's not just a men's game. It's not just for, you know, men who are 40 plus and have an interest in city building. This is a game for everyone, and especially if you liked The Sims. It is a pretty natural step on from playing The Sims, especially if you were interested in like the town dynamic and the story progression. Not that this has story progression, but you know, it's kind of more about the collective than the individual. It's a very natural step on from there, and I feel like it's everything that SimCity tried to be and failed. So if you're a woman and you have been thinking about getting into the game and you weren't sure because you couldn't see yourself represented in any of the creators, we are out there. We may not be as loud as everyone else, and we may not have as much visibility as everyone else, but we're definitely out there. And for every female gaming creator, there's probably going to be thousands of other women who don't film what they do, who don't put videos up on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or anything. So for every one of us, there's probably thousands that are very quiet and just playing for themselves. So this is definitely a game for you if you want to play, and feel free to join me on my chaotic journey to making a sprawling city on this map that I've never played on before, still being a complete beginner, it feels like. Thanks for watching if you've got this far, I really appreciate it. It's probably going to be like 1 or 2 people that usually watch the end of my videos, and I think one of them's going to be my fiance anyway, so thank you, and enjoy some clips of the town that we've made so far.